Hello guys, I hope you're doing well. Now we will start revising using the math revision sheets, which are at page 15 of our booklet. So the first thing that we will revise is chapter 4, which is about rational numbers. And before we start anything, I would just like to revise with you the famous and the important fractions that you need to remember. Now just know you need to remember them, to memorize them. So the first famous fraction is 1/4, which we call it 1/4, and that is equal in the decimal to 0.25. Okay, always remember that. We also have the 1/3, okay, that fraction that we call it a third or 1/3, which is equal to 0.3333, a lot of threes. We can write that as 0.3 with a bar up like that, okay? The second or the third fraction that we need to know is 2/3, which is 2/3, and that is equal to 0.666666 and so on. So a lot of sixes. So it would be equal to 0.6 with a bar like that. Okay? And the fourth fraction that we need to know is the half, which is 1/2. And in decimals, that is equal to 0.5. Okay? Also, we have the fraction that says 3/4 or 3/4, and in decimal that is equal to 0.75. So 0.75. Okay? Now these 5 fractions, you need to remember them, you need to memorize them, you need to know them. When you got them, you will directly, you don't need to do any math to do any long divisions or anything. You just know them. Okay? So these are very important. Please write them, highlight them, and make sure to memorize them. Okay? Very important. Okay? Don't forget about them. Now let us go to the revision sheets and start solving some questions. So we now at page 16. I know we solved these in the class together, but this video is just to make sure that you remember everything and to make sure that everything is cleared and in mind. So what is 4 and 2/3 as a decimal? So this is a mixed number. We have a whole number, which is 4, and we have a fraction which is 2/3. Now you know that this fraction, the 2/3, is one of the famous fractions, right? We know that the 2/3, we just talked about it, is equal to 0.66666, a lot of sixes, so that is equal to 0.6 with a bar up here. Okay? But because we have the 4, the decimal, the whole number 4, this means you will add 4 to that. So that would be 4.6 with a bar up like that. Okay? So which one is the correct answer? Of course, it is answer C. Okay? So 4 and 6 as a repeated number. So question 2 says, what is 0.82 as a fraction in simplest form? And we have a lot of fractions. Now these fractions, we need to do long division to find the value of each one of these fractions. But one of them, which is number D, is 8/10. We know that is equal to 0.8, right? So the question is asking you about 0.82, so of course that is not equal to 0.8, so we know that answer G is not correct. So one of the other answers. Okay? I will start with F. You need to do long division to each one of these fractions to get the correct answer. So I have 41/50. Okay? 41 is of course less than the 50, so we can't do it unless we put a 0 and a point. Okay, now I can add 0 here, so this number will be 410. Now we need to write the times table for the number 50. You might think, oh, that is a lot. No, it's easy. It's like just the times table of the number 5. 1 times 50 is 50. 2 times 50, you just think of it as the number 5. So it's like 2 times 5 is 10. And because you have an extra 0 with the 50, so just add it. 3 times 5, 15. With a 0, 150. 4 times 5, 20. With a 0, 200. What 5 times 5, 250. 6 times 50 is like 300. 7 times 50, 350. And 8 times 50 is 400. And 9 times 50 is 450. So we're looking for 400. Okay, so here we have it from the number 8. So I will say 8 here. 400 minus, you will just have 10 left, because 410 minus 400 is 10. So 10 divided by 50, we can't, of course, we cannot do it because the 10 is less than the 50. But because I have a decimal up here, I can add another 0 here. So it's like now you have 100. Where is the 100? We can get it from the number 2. So I will write 2 up here, I will write 100 here, minus 0, 0. So the fraction, which is 41 over 50, which is f, is equal to what? Is equal actually to 0.82, which is the decimal number that that the question is asking us about. So f is the correct answer. And if you had time in the final exam, if you got a question like that and you had extra time, you can try to do long division for the other two fractions to make sure that they are not equal to 0.82. But of course, because we had one option that is equal to that, of course H and I will be like wrong answers. So don't worry about that. You can just like for fun or just to pass time, do it and check. Okay? Question 3. What is the LCD of 11 over 7 and 3 over 8? What is LCD? LCD means least common denominator. Okay? So this means that when you have the fraction 11 over 7 and 3 over 8, and you want, for example, to add them or to subtract them, you can't do that unless you like make the denominators the same, right? So you're gonna think, I have a 7 and an 8. How can I make them the same? Like, what is the least common denominator that I can have it here? You can only do like the easiest way, the fastest way to make them the same is that you multiply the 11 and the 7, all of them, by 8, and here to multiply them by 7. Okay, so the common denominator will be 7 times 8, and 7 times 8 is equal to what? Is equal to 56. Yeah, so 56 is the least common denominator, which is answer D. Okay, question 4 says, which sample makes 7 over 11 and 3 over 5 a true sentence? Now, these two fractions, can you tell me which one of them is bigger than the other? I guess from looking, we can't really tell. We need to make the denominators the same. So I can make here the 11 and the 5, the least common denominator between these two numbers is 55. So here I can multiply by 5 up and down, and here by 11 up and down. So here I will get 35 over 55, and here I have 33 over 55, I'm sorry. So now we can of course tell the difference. We can tell which fraction is greater than the other. Of course, the 35 over 55 is greater than 33 over 55. So the correct answer is that the first fraction is greater than the other. So the answer will be answer F. So F is the correct answer. Okay. Question 5. Which of the following has the least value? What is the least value? So we have 4 fractions. We want to tell which one of these is the least one. So you can make the denominators the same. You can try to, for example, draw, okay, to choose which one of these fractions is the least. I guess you can just think of them and think which one of them make more sense. For example, answer A, 13 out of 15. This fraction means that you have 13 shaded parts out of 15. So this is a lot of shaded parts, right? You just have 2 small parts that are not shaded. So this seems to me that it is a big fraction, okay? Let's try B. B is 7 out of 8. This means that you have 7 parts shaded out of 8. So this means that you have 8 small parts. 7 of them are shaded, okay? Let's think of C. C, you have 2 parts out of 3, okay? 2 shaded parts out of 3. And that one, if you're gonna think deeply about it, means that you have like big parts, because the whole circle is just split it into 3 parts. Okay, so this is a shaded part and this is a shaded part. So this means that you just have a one empty part, and like the 2 shaded part are big, okay? And also the empty part is also big, because you just have 3 parts. And the D, you have 3 parts out of 4. That one means that you have 3 shaded parts out of 4 parts. So like that, this is a part, 2, and a 3. So clearly that is bigger than the 2 over 3, right? And also the 7 over 8 and the 13 over 5 are also big, like big fractions, okay, big shaded parts. So the least one of these 4 fractions is the 2 over 3. This is the least fraction. Of course, if I got something like that for you in the exam, it's going to be like more clear for you. These kind of are like challenging numbers to work with, so don't worry about that part. Now let's see here. We have, for example, exercises 6 to 13. What is the value of each expression in simplest form? So we need to add, to subtract, to multiply fractions, and to write that in the simplest form. So let's start with the first one. We have negative 11 over 15 plus negative 2 over 15. So this means that you have 2 fractions, you need to add them, okay? But focus and notice that both of them are negative. So you have like negative fraction and negative fraction. So same sign add, keep the same sign. You will just add the numerators. 11 plus 2 is 13. And of course we keep the same denominator, so we keep the 15. And don't forget, keep the same sign. Both of them are negative, so you will keep the negative sign. So you will get G, which is the correct answer, negative 13 over 15. Okay, make it clear for you. Question 7 says 15 and 3 over 5 minus 3 and 2 over 7. So here you have 2 mixed numbers. Okay, these are mixed numbers. Since you have a whole number and a fraction, you need to subtract them out of each other. So here, to do that, you need to make the denominators the same so you can subtract. So the easiest way here is to multiply up and down by 7, like the same denominators that you have it here, and here by 5. Only the fractions, okay? So the whole numbers, you will keep them. So for the first fraction, 3 times 7 is 21 over 35 minus 3, and here 2 times 5 is 10 over 35. Now let's subtract. First, we will subtract the whole numbers. So 15 minus 3 equals to 12, and 21 minus 10 is 11 over 35. So let's search for that answer, 12 and 11 over 35. So this would be answer B, right? Yeah, that one. So B is the correct answer. After that, we have 2 over 3 plus 3 over 8. So you need to, again, to make the denominators the same, so you can add. I can make these, I will multiply that by 8 up and down, and here by 3 up and down, because you multiply with the other denominator. So equals to 2 times 8, 16 over 24 plus 9 over 24 again. Let's add 16 plus 9, that is equal to 27, right? No, actually 25, right? Yeah, 25 over 24, of course. Okay, so here, because here that is an improper fraction. How an improper fraction? Because the 25 is greater and it is up at the numerator. So I can write that whenever I have an improper fraction, I can write it as a mixed number. How? You would write it as 24 over 24, like the same denominator that you have, plus how much you need to add to the 24 to reach the 25. You will just add 1 over 24, right? So of course, since you have a 24 over 24, that is equal to 1. So here 1 and that fraction, which is 1 and 20 over 24. So the correct answer is the mixed number, which is I, which is 1 and 1 over 24. Okay, question 9 says add these two mixed numbers. You have 8 and you have 12. These are the numerators that you have. So can you think what is the common number that you can make them? How can you make them the same? I guess we can make both of them a 24, right? To make the 8 a 24, we multiply up and down by 3. And to make the 12 a 24, we can multiply up and down by 2. So this is the least common denominator. Equals to the whole number, we will keep it. Now the fraction 3 will be 3 over 3 times 8, 24, plus 1 and 2 times 5 is 10 over 24. Now let's add the whole numbers. 1 plus 2 equals 3. The fractions, 3 plus 10 is 13 over 24. So that is the correct answer. Do we see it here? Yes, we see it. It is option A. So A is the correct answer. Okay, then question 10. Here we have, we need to multiply these two fractions. So to multiply fractions, we need first to make that mixed number. We need to make it a regular fraction, then we multiply. So let's multiply. 2 times 6, 12. 12 plus the numerator plus 5. We will get what? We will get 17. 17 over 6 multiplied by 1 over 3. Okay? So let's just multiply. 1 times 17, 17, and 6 times 3, 18. So 17 over 18 is the correct answer, which is answer I. So I is the correct answer. I hope everything is okay for you until now. If you have any questions, please let me know. Let's continue. Go to the next page. Here we have two fractions that we need to subtract. So 9 over 10 minus 3 over 10. We have the same denominator, so that is an easy one. 9 minus 3 equals 6 over 10. Right? We keep the same denominator down. But we need to simplify that, because always the questions ask you to write that in the simplest form. So think what number that I can divide the 6 and the 10 over. Of course, we can divide them over 2 over 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 3 over 5 is the correct answer, which is answer C. After that I have 12, 10 and 1 over 6 minus 4 and 3 over 14. Can you think of a way that we can make the 6 and the 14 the same number? I'm trying to get we can't make them 24. We can make them okay, I can't think of any close number to make them the same, so I want to try to make them what I have here. Okay, so here I will make the 6, I will multiply it up and down by 14, and here I will multiply up and down by 6. Okay, so let's do that. The whole numbers will stay the same, so here I will have 10. Here 14 times 1 is 14 over 6 multiplied by 14. Let's multiply that. 6 times 4 is a 24, yeah, so 4 down, 2 up. 6 times 1, 6 plus 2, 8. So the answer, the common denominator will be 84. Minus, the whole number will stay the same. 3 times 6 is 18 over the same denominator, which is 84. Now let's subtract. 10 minus 4 is 6. Alright, okay, we have another problem here. You can subtract the whole numbers, right? But if you take a look at the fractions, you will have 14 minus 18, and you cannot do that because of course the 14 is less, right? So you need to take one of that 10. So I will take one of that 10, this one, I will add it to this fraction. But how can I add it? You will add it as 84 over 84. Okay, because that is of course equals to 1. So we will add it to make this fraction a bigger number. So when I take 1 out of this 10, it will be 9, right? Because I'm taking 1 out of it. So I will have 9, and the fraction, now you will have 84, you will add that to the 14. So you will have 98, okay? Because you will add the 84 to the 14 over the 84. Minus the same the mixed number 4 and 18 over 84. Now let's minus. Now we can do it. 9 minus 4 equals to 5. 98 minus 18. Let's take it step by step. 9 minus 1 is 8, and 8 minus 1 8 minus 8 is just 0 over 84. Okay, now you have that fraction. So like you have a mixed number, the 5 whole number, and the fraction, the 80 over 84. Now think with me, can we simplify this fraction? I guess we can divide it over 4, yeah, because we just have 4, 8, and which are the 4 multiples. So the whole number will stay the same, the 5. 80 divided by 4, imagine that as 20. So 8 divided by 4, 2, and just keep the 0. 84 divided by 4, you will get 21. So this is the correct answer, 5 and 20 over 21, which is answer F. I know there's a lot of work on that one. It's like a tricky one, but yani, we don't get such questions the whole time. Okay, question 13. I have two mixed numbers that we need to divide them over each other. So to do that, we need to first write them as regular fractions. Okay, so we need to convert this mixed number to improper fractions. 4 times 4, 16, plus 1, what, 17 over 4, right? Divided by, let's do the other fraction, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1, 5 over 2, okay, equals 2. Now do you remember the rule for the division? We keep the first fraction, so I will keep 17 over 4. We convert the division sign to a multiplication sign, and we flip the second fraction, so we will write it as 2 over 5. Okay, now you can multiply just directly, or you can make them like easier, simplify them, because the 4 is equal to 2 times 2, right? You can cross one of these 2's with this 2 up here. So here you will just have 17 multiplied by 1, just a 1, so 17 over, and down here you have 2 times 5, that is equal to 10. So 17 over 10, this is an improper fraction, right? You can also write that as a mixed number. I can write it as 10 over 10 plus 7 over 10, like that. And of course 10 over 10, that is a whole number 1. So this is 1 and 7 over 10. So this fraction is equal to 1 and 7 over 10, which is answer B. So B is the correct answer.